I've been asking for the perp walks on X, and Donald Trump actually might be taking note. Here's his answer to prosecuting, I should say, not protecting Hillary Clinton on Pod Force One.
So, we had Hillary Clinton down to whatever we wanted to do with her, and I felt it was inappropriate. She's the wife of a president. She was a Secretary of State, and we could have done a very big number.
Yeah.
And I said, we don't want to be doing that. Let's, put it into the country and not the concept of putting her in jail, indicting her, all the things that you have to do. It's tough stuff. And I said, we don't want to do that. In fact, you remember I made speeches when I mentioned her name. They started lock her up. Yeah. And I said, no, this is after we won. We just won. And I said,
you wanted the country
we have
to
to
heal.
Get back to, we want to heal. And yet they did it to me.
Yeah.
So I feel differently.
Oh, I feel differently now. Matt, do you feel a little differently now?
Yeah, I think everyone feels a little differently about this. I mean, this is the kind of thing that in the past you would expect, sort of dignity of the office to be upheld by the next person coming. That was the mindset for a good number of decades. You know that someone did something, you pardon them, the country moves on, it does heal. There's two parties, but one citizenry, yada, yada. But after what we've seen and the way in which one party has behaved over and over again and is unrepentant about, these things do change. And I think Trump means what he's saying here.
Well, Chris, I want to lock her up just as much as everybody else. I don't know that we're actually going to get it, but I love the sentiment, at least for today.
But going after people at the top is the smartest thing that they need to be doing right now. And yes, I agree. You're not going to see Hillary Clinton locked up. You're not going to see Barack Obama locked up. But I do think, and we've talked about this previously in the show, people like Brennan, people like Clapper, people like Comey, even more, are in real serious danger of having broken the law for their parts in this cover-up. And the fact that, they're not politicians. The Supreme Court, this doesn't impact Hillary Clinton as much. President Trump pointed out, I think it was late last week, that the Supreme Court rulings that assisted him in the prosecutions that said, listen, you just can't prosecute for official actions of the U.S. president. It really ticked off liberals. But right now, it may actually be helping Democrats out because that's going to apply to President Barack Obama, who's going to try and say, hey, these were official actions of the president. That's maybe why they're not going to go after him. That sort of protection is not afforded to rogue intelligence officers, no matter how important they are in those rogue agencies.
Well, let's dive into some more of the Russiagate declassified documents. DNI Gabbard is declassifying all these text messages and documents, exposing just how embedded the media actually is with this fake Trump-Russia collusion narrative, right? We know the Steele dossier, that of course is the Clinton-funded Oppo research file. It was leaked to Yahoo News by the people that were trying to go through and use it for FBI's Crossfire Hurricane to actually look in to Donald Trump's campaign. Now, Peter Strzok is the guy who started all of this. He admitted in the 2016 text message that the dossier wasn't meant just to inform, but it was actually intended to influence the media narrative. So, Matt, when we say that you don't hate the media enough, this is another example of what we're talking about.
Yeah, look, the problem is the collusion. The real collusion was not Trump with Russia. The real collusion, I repeat, was not Trump with Russia. The real collusion was the intelligence agencies, the FBI, with the media. And they played that game arm in arm. And Peter Strzok is a classic example of an FBI agent gone wrong, someone in a senior position who is playing politics, and we have him on record playing politics the entire time. And the way that they do that is they go back and forth with the media to create the narratives they want. And, America's sick of it. We're sick of this. And Strzok is one of these guys who you really can't make up. The way that he looked in his hearing, remember the famous moment where he's, his head's bobbling and his eyes sort of bug out. These people are classic, villains really in every Hollywood movie about corrupt politicians. And you can just look at them and see there's something wrong here. But we have him on record over and over again being at the center of all this business.
Yeah, and we see his text messages now trying to get make sure that Michael Flynn, the investigation, they actually don't close the investigation. Let's go ahead and look at some of these text messages here. Strzok says, hey, if you haven't closed Razor, which is the Operation Razor, that's the name that's used for Michael Flynn, he says, don't do so yet. Somebody whose name has been redacted says, I have not closed it. It's still open. I'm still listed as the case manager. I had to actually double check. Strzok says, Razor still open. Then he goes into something like, hey, do you still want those chips and Oreos, which of course is all the important stuff here. And then the redacted person says, phew, yeah, that was amazing that it's still open. Anything that I can help with. And Strzok says, we just need to relay to him not to close Razor yet. So Chris, when we look at this, we see the weaponization of the FBI against all of their political opponents, right? It's not a theory anymore. We see the actual text messages that have come out and saying, okay, no, we want to make sure that this thing that we're looking into with Michael Flynn, we want to make sure that case stays open for right now.
Yeah, and I'm really convinced that they were so certain and none of this was really going to come out in the end. They were pretty certain once Joe Biden became the president that they were safe. I mean, right now there's a back and forth going on about a declassified documents that President Trump declassified. My wife was tweeting about it earlier today. That the DOJ crawled back from declassification at the end of President Trump leaving the White House. And this was some of this Russiagate stuff that he was working to declassify. I actually have a theory we're trying to work on right now that's largely over what the raid on Mar-a-Lago was about. He declassified stuff. DOJ clawed it back for review, never sent the final emails even after the president sent the order. Joe Biden's president. Joe Biden's supposed to be president for 8 years. If not, maybe Kamala Harris does 4, and then she's the president for the next 4 years. By the time it's moved on, it's old news. Everyone can move on because all of this information was there. And one of the reasons they really wanted President Trump to not ever come back into office and to preferably be in prison was to make sure that he would not be able to uncover this literal proof that Brennan was lying, that Comey was lying, that Strzok was involved, that these text messages exist, that these meetings happened, that President Barack Obama gave the orders, because all of those records were real. Those are some of the things I suspect they were trying to really search for when they said, listen, there's all these pages of redacted information that we can't even tell you. It's so secret, but we know he has them because they're missing. And we want them back, and we're going to take them back. We're going to set up cameras. We're going to surveil. We're going to launch raids on Mar-a-Lago. And we're going to put him in prison with crimes that would make it bar him from being able to hold office ever again. And we're going to make sure that this stuff is never uncovered ever again. And guess what? They won. And they came back. And I'm not sure yet what the deal is with the burn bags, how routine that is, if these are copies, what's going on there. I haven't been able to see what's been inside of them yet, but we know that there's a ton in there that seriously and actually, in their own words, implicated these conspirators that undermined the entire last 4 years, like we were talking about last night, undermines the credibility of the entire media, which is why they're refusing to talk about it, just not even talk about it, because they are guilty of this. It's like you don't go in public and talk about your crimes. I get it. You're not supposed to. But they keep on returning to the scene of the crime. They did want to talk about everything that they did for so long, and now they're just being real quiet, now that these investigations have actually begun. And even more than his agenda at the end, his agenda that's pretty popular of deportations, his agenda of building the wall, his agenda of changing NATO and changing U.S. foreign policy. Even more than that, I think it became a game of making sure he couldn't get back. It's kind of like, they say that Richard Nixon's big crime was in the cover-up, that's where the screw-ups that the Republicans made at that time were, and that's how they ended up getting them. Well, I think a lot of this stuff was their attempts to try and cover their tracks until it had been 8 years or 12 years, or they were praying longer, and no one ever actually went looking for this. The people came in office just wanted to move on from this dark period of time and not actually deal with it. And they ended up kind of sealing their own fate in a lot of ways.
But Chris, it's worse than them just staying silent on the matter. actually, Peter Strzok went through and deleted all of his posts on X on Monday. Is this a coincidence, right? We see this. Okay, by the way, my name is being included in all these document dumps that are coming out. My text messages are going public. Oh, crap. I better delete everything off X before the entire, internet army can go figure out what I've been posting. And it didn't just stop there. John Kerry today, I saw this on X, John Kerry went and locked down his account as well. Now, there's already 3.1 million people that follow him. So 3.1 million people are already on the protected side of the tweets they can go through and see. But it's interesting, Matt, that this is the reaction of the leftists. Oh, you know what? You can't see anything that we're doing. No, please don't watch what we're doing.
Yeah, it's kind of become a symbol these
point
days.
Of clarity there. Well, Strzok did this on Monday. When we looked into this to try and report on those, because I saw that as well. I was like, it's John Kerry. It did turn out that he did lock his account quite a bit beforehand. He was sick of the game. And maybe Strzok should have done the same a long time ago as well.
Oh, yeah. It's become a kind of symbol of like, I'm out. Right, I'm out. I'm shutting everything down. When you close your X account or you block everyone,
We should all do this.
It's kind of a symbol of I'm out. But you're right. Yeah, you're right. Chris is right. There's also a good side to that. You'll know the day that I hit my number when I'm completely off social media and I have someone else holding my phone. But this is with Strzok. It's and with Brennan in recent interviews as well. It is instructive that they're not just sitting around saying nah, that little look isn't there anymore. These guys are a little scared. It looks like they really are circling the wagons because they do have to be concerned.